Hi guys, this is Neek coming to do. Uh-oh. I think I just ripped. Oh my gosh, just ripped my damn moo. But I am coming today to do a very serious video. Um, it is in regards to family situations, family issues. If you saw per the title, um, I'm just coming to give my personal opinion, to give my views on how to deal with certain family issues, things that a lot of people might not talk about, but it's something that's very real in the community, and not just the African American community or the black community. It's very real for any race all across the board. I personally feel, but this is not obviously not one of my glam videos where it's gonna contain me talking about makeup or products or things like that where I'm gonna have a beat face. This is a very serious, very serious video. A very what's the word that I'm looking for? Something that's very private for most families. It's been private for the most part for my family. I've never spoken to anybody on YouTube in regards to this specific issue. I've never brought this specific issue to my channel. However, since my channel is not only just about hair and clothes and makeup, and it does surround some sort of family issues, this is stuff that I wanted to bring to the table. And forgive me if I sound very stuffy. I do have currently a sinus infection and an upper respiratory infection at the moment. Plus, as you guys know, if you've watched my previous videos, I'm also pregnant, and at this point I am 8 months pregnant. So I'm very winded, very tired. But if you guys want to know more about what it is that I'm going to talk to you about this evening, then just keep watching. So, I am 26, going on 27. I'll be 27 years in August, the first week in August. Um, and I have, between my mother, well, between my mother and my father, I have 6 siblings, 5 siblings, myself included would be six. My mother and my father, when they were married, they had my oldest sister, who will be 30 in November, my oldest younger brother, who just recently turned 23. Yeah, because we're 4 years apart, and I'll be 27. So he just recently turned 23 in May, and those were their 3 children that they had together, when they were together. My father, outside of that, has 3 other boys. My brother Dejuan, who is 16, my brother Daquan, who is 14, and my brother Malik, who is 11. Um, our father, bless his heart, is definitely, I don't want to say that, just in general, to jumpstart to anybody who might think that this is me coming on here bashing him or speaking negatively of him, or looking for pity, or whatever it is that people, generally negatively say when someone puts out a video in regards to their personal issues or their personal problems. I'm not doing this for attention. I'm not doing this for fame. I wasn't asked to do this video. I personally feel that this video was something that God gave me to do to help others. Um, I've, in a sense, grown up embarrassed in regards to the information that I'm about to share with you all, just because, I mean, what young woman wants to experience things that I've experienced is in some sense of a relationship with my father. Most young women, most girls grow up and they're able to look at their father as their heroes. You know, they say for women, their fathers are their like first love. That's where we learn the love of a man. That's where we learn how to respect a man, how to treat a man, how a man should treat us. That's where we learn all of those things from our father. And I can say that my father has taught me many things. Um, but in reference to this particular conversation, this is in regards to how he's been there, but he's also been absent in a sense of his fatherly duties and of him showing his children that he's not a selfish person, and that he will do anything to not only provide and be there for us, um, but that he would never in any way put us in any situation that was going to cause us any harm, any hurt, any heartbreak. Um, just in all honesty, I can't say that about my father. I can't say that he's never made mistakes or that he isn't still making mistakes. I can't say that about my father. Um, I can't say that he's always been there and he hasn't ever missed my important days, or that he's been there for me every time that I needed him to be, and on my most important days like graduations and proms and um, concerts and things of that nature, that he was always there. I can't say that about my father, unfortunately. At a younger age, did it hurt me? Did it hurt my feelings? Did it disappoint me? Yes, it did. Because those were, as a child, some of my best moments, some of my best days, and the times where I needed him the most, the times where I wanted him to be there the most, and he wasn't, or he couldn't be. And a lot of things that, one thing in particularly that hindered him from being there for me for special occasions as such would have been the fact that throughout my 27 years of life, my father has constantly, not continually, but constantly had issues with the law. He's constantly um, been in and out of jail since I was a baby. Um, he's never necessarily spent long sentences in jail, but he'll go and he'll be there for 6 months, and then he'll get out, and then he'll go back and be there for 4 months, and then he'll get out, and then he'll go back and he'll be there for another 6 months and he'll get out. And it was just a recurring issue from the time I was little, like I said, from the time that I was a little child up until this very day. Like literally, this very day. My father, at this very present moment, is incarcerated, and it hurts. Um, it hurts because he's missed so many things in my life. He's missed learning who I am fully as a person. He's missed most importantly, learning himself, learning about himself, about who he is as a person, about who he is as a man, about all of his children, about all of his grandchildren. My father has 6 children and has 8 grandchildren, including my unborn child who has not been born yet. Um, and the thought of him not being here when my son was born, also the thought of him possibly not being here when his granddaughter is born, it hurts. And I can remember times when I was younger where I wanted him there and he wasn't, where I needed him to be with me and he wasn't. Um, Not only for protection, but just to have a friend, to have a father, to know that he cared more about me to do what he's supposed to do as a father and as a man to make sure that he was here for his children. And in many cases, he lacked that. He chose to be selfish. He chose to make bad choices and bad decisions because he was selfish. And then he later would like to make excuses for himself. Um, he wouldn't want to take responsibility for the things that he's done. He wouldn't want to take the initiative to do better than what he was doing just because in his mind he already had a bad record and he could only do what he was doing because what else was he going to do? He's never gotten a college degree. By the grace of God, he graduated high school and he's been in and out of trouble ever since. He likes to point the finger even at the old age of 45 years old. He likes to point the finger and say, oh, if my father would have been there or my father would have did this differently, then I would have, things may have been different with me, or my mama didn't do this and my mother didn't do that, and it's not it's not even about that, especially at this very present time. You have to take accountability for your actions, for who you are, for the things that you've done, and accept those things. Forgive yourself for those things and move forward. I feel like personally, he hasn't forgiven himself for the things that he's done or said in the past years. And I feel like personally, I don't I I don't know if he ever will. That's the mystery of him being who he is and being an individual, and me being who I am and being an individual. People can say they're going to change. People can say that they're going to, change for the better and not do drugs or not sell drugs or not go to prison or not go to jail and not do or break the law that causes them to be taken away from their families and their children. Um, and they may actually do it for a little while. They may actually change for a little while. And then something happens and they revert back to that person. They revert back to those old ways. They revert back to hanging around with the wrong crowd. And it makes it harder for them to change if they're not accepting accountability for who they are as an adult, most importantly. Because at the age of 45, you're an adult. You have children and grandchildren. And you have to take accountability for yourself to say, if I want a better life, I control my better life. Not my mother, not my father, not my past, not my future. I have to live for today. I have to live for now. And if I want a better life, I have to change my life. I can want to do it for my children. I can want to do it for my parents. I can want to do it for my family. However, if I don't want to do it for myself wholeheartedly, that person will never change. That person will never grow. That person will never move forward in life. They're going to continue to go in that same revolving cycle because they're not accepting accountability for who they are. And they're not accepting themselves for who they are. I feel like my father, in many ways, um, has been very immature in a lot of situations. Um, People say that women grow or mature faster than men. And he's even said that out of his own mouth to me. And it recently, just recently, he said this. And I do feel like that in a certain sense. However, I just feel like it's all a choice. It's all in the choices that we make. And it's a lot more so in the ways that we are raised because as a mother, because it's not just men who go to jail, it's not just men who go to prison. Women do too. Women also make bad choices. Women also do drugs. They prostitute. They go to jail. They sell drugs. They do things that cause them to get arrested and go to jail or prison. They may be in a horrible situation and commit murder or, other things. Women also go to jail. So it's not just a man thing or a man situation and where only men are locked up and in prison. It's a choice. You choose as a person if I'm gonna do the right thing, if I'm gonna make myself the best person I can be, if I'm gonna have the best life that I can be, if I'm going to be the best mother that I can be, if I'm going to make bad decisions and then in the back end allow myself to convince myself in my mind that I made these bad decisions for the benefits of my children. No, I don't agree with that. You can't make bad decisions and then say, I did this because I had to. I did this because I was doing this for my children. I did this because I didn't have a choice. I did this because, you know, this is what I had to do to take care of my kids. No, you didn't. You didn't have to do anything. You chose to make that decision. You chose to make that bad decision. You chose to make that negative decision that negatively impacted not only your life, but your child's life. And I feel like personally, that's what a lot of parents who may allow their young minds to get them in trouble and to do something that's stupid and selfish that causes them to be taken away from their children and their families for years at a time. And then before you know it, 20 years later is a 22-year-old adult and you don't know them. The life that they lead has changed. The life that you've led has changed. The entire world has changed. Technology has changed. How you apply for a job, the whole applying online and applying what used to, most things used to be paper, and all of that has changed. Everything has become quick, 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 and technology based. And people who are or have been daily on these death row sentences or been in prison majority of their lives or their children's lives, you come out of jail, you have to start all the way over. Every time you mess up and you go in, when you come out, you have to start all the way over. That's number one of the issues personally for the person, male or female, who is in prison or in jail, and when you get out, you have to start all the way over. But for your families, for your children, when you make these decisions, you're not thinking in your mind how, if I do this, how is it going to negatively impact my daughter? How is it going to negatively impact my son? And in my father's case, where we have asked him not to do the things that he was doing that caused him to be where he is, where we've asked him to not to be associated with the people that he was associated with to cause him to be where he is. And for you to think in your mind that you're smarter than the system, or that you can get over on the system, or that there's not somebody in a higher place that isn't paying attention to what it is that you're doing, and he's eventually going to get tired and say, wait a minute, what you doing? What you doing? I've been gracious enough to allow you to have lived through car accidents, through domestic violence accidents. He's had mercy on you to allow you to obtain life abundantly on earth, not just in heaven, but abundantly on earth. And for you to be so selfish, so self centered, that you continue to negatively impact the spirits of the people around you, you continue to negatively impact the lives of the people around you, you continue to negatively pollute yourself and to cause yourself to end up in a situation where you have nothing and you have to depend on everyone that you've let down or that you've talked shit to or that you have treated as if they were nothing to you. When you now don't have anything. You have to lean on those people. And how do you think that that makes them feel when you're a 45-year-old man or a 45-year-old woman and you're calling your children asking them for money because you've put yourself in a situation where you can't help yourself? You're calling asking your family to do this and that for you when just months ago you were calling them all kinds of names. You were being verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, and now that you need them, you expect them to be at your beck and call. And yet, a while, in the midst of all of that, you still have children who are in their adolescent age who have to depend on you. Not because they want to, not because they chose to, but because you created them and in return neglected them because you chose to make selfish decisions, because you chose to be selfish. My siblings have been neglected. They've gone without certain things that I never personally at their age can say I had to go without because my mother worked hard and God willing and God graciously blessed her with a husband who loved me and my siblings as we are his own and raised us. And they built a family for us to take care of us. They built a house for us to live in, for us to have shelter for our children, their grandchildren to be able to grow up in. Um, had it not been for them stepping up and stepping in, my mother taking the reins as our mother, saying, I'm not going to allow my children to be negatively impacted to the point to where we lose everything, to the point to where they aren't able to grow from this. They aren't able to love their father for who he is as their father. However, in the back of our minds, we still know because we're smart enough to know right from wrong. We're smart enough to know that this is not how you are supposed to live your life and maneuver. And in a sense, since I was a child and dealing with the situation with my father and watching my brothers go through it at this adult age that I am, and them in the very same positions that I was in at their age, because he hasn't changed. He has chosen not to change. And all that time, I, my brother, and my sister all have gone through the same shit. And my younger brothers are now going through the same shit with the same man, the same father, because he has been so unbelievably selfish that he hasn't changed. And I'm getting ready to end this video, in which I may come back next week and do another video in reference to the same situation because I just want to be an advocate to those children, teenagers, adults who may be going through what I'm going through, and you need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to vent to. You need somebody who's on your level, who understands what it's like growing up with an absentee parent, um, that's in and out of jail, in and out of prison. You're just like, I've dealt with this all my life, and then as an adult, you're dealing with this, and then you have children of your own, and you have to explain this to your children. Your parents got grandchildren on why their grandfather is in jail or in prison, or why their grandmother is in jail or in prison, because children are inquisitive and they want to know, especially if you're keeping an open line of communication with that person while they're in jail or in prison. Children are not dumb. They see you on the phone. They hear you on the phone. They see the calls coming in. Most children these days stay on their parents' phones, especially if they're at home. They're on the phone watching videos, playing games, doing educational games, and learning stuff on their phones. And as a parent, you have to, in a sensitive manner, explain this information to your child. And for me, it has been heartbreaking not only to grow up with my father being back and forth in and out of jail, but to see my brothers go through the same situation at their age, and to look back and say, damn, when I was their age, this man was doing the same shit. He was in the same situation. There hasn't been much growth and much change. It's heartbreaking as as a parent and as a child of a parent who is in jail. It's heartbreaking to see that for generations this person has just been emotionally and financially, not just emotionally, but financially and emotionally, a strain and a stress on their families, because my father, as I like to say, has generations of children. He has my brother, my sister, and I, who are in our 20s now. My sister and I are in our late 20s. My sister will be 30, as I stated earlier, in November. I will be 27 in August. And my brother's 23. And then we have his second generation of children who are all teenagers, still very much so need him, still very much so want him to be in their lives, a part of their lives. And I, even as an adult, I still want him to be in my life, a part of my life, a part of my children's lives, who's his grandchildren. But until he grows and sees that what he's doing does not only affect him, it affects, most importantly, his children. And beyond that, it's leaving a negative legacy of who he is to all of us. because God forbid he comes home and God forbid a year from now or years from now he reverts back to the person that he was that caused him to be where he is today. The devil is a lie. I'm not even claiming that. But God forbid, because then I would look back and say, he never learned anything. He never learned anything. All he ever learned was how to kindly communicate to the point to where he gets people to do what he wants them to do, or to feel in a sense sorry for him for the actions that have caused the reaction, all on his own and all in his own doing. Every action has a reaction, and every action has a consequence, good or bad. And at this point, we can only hope and pray for the best. But hope, I mean, hope and pray for the best, but prepare for the worst. Because you never know what you're going to get when someone who has been taken from society, how they react when they come home. You never know. You never know if they're going to, like I said, revert back to who they were before and continue to do the same stuff, or if they're genuinely trying to change, going to change. But we'll see. Um, we'll see. This is all I have for tonight. If you guys would like to see more videos like this, if you would like to ask a specific question in regards to the topic of tonight and what I've been speaking about, comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Um, and you can watch my other videos. And just keep my family, those who do pray, just keep my family in prayer, because we're going through something right now, and it's it has taken a great toll on all of us. I just ask for you guys' prayers, and that if anyone is going through what I'm going through in your family, in your home situation, talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to express yourself, whether you're an adult, a teenager, a child. Parents, talk to your children if this is something, whether you're the father or the mother, and either parent is in a similar situation, talk to your children. Talking and communicating is such an outlet for any human being to be able to release stress, to get an understanding, a clearer thought about what the hell it is that's going on and how we move forward. So, if you guys want to see more videos like this and continue this conversation, please, by all means, comment, subscribe, like the video, and share it. And I will continue to give you guys what you asked for. So, thank you guys for watching, and you have a good night.